Why does this series put a smile on my face? I mean, I guess because it's relatable, but I don't know, just something about this series is just, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. I just can't explain it, but it really does. Like, I really hope I'm not the only one out there that just smiles and gets happy while watching this. I don't know, just something about it. I guess because I'm a gamer and I love playing MMORPGs and stuff, that I could just really relate to some of these things. I mean, a lot of these conversations as well, or even guild drama and all that, how it's mentioned, it's something that does happen, and it just, I don't know, just something about this series of how it's presented. I feel like the writer of this series really knew, like, had a really good understanding of what MMOs were about, but also how sometimes relationships are on social media, or at the very least inside of a game. That's what I really like. And I do like the aspect of how someone can meet someone online and they can be a very special person to someone. That's a very powerful thing about this series. I really like, you know, a recovery of an MMO junkie just for that alone. Anyways, this episode, my heart, man. My heart, it was too much for my little heart. Like, just the happiness, to the fluff, to just seeing the reactions of what Morty thought of Lily when, you know, the confession scene basically inside the game. I was like, this is just so adorable. It's so adorable. So, anyways, let's talk about it. Okay, so in this episode, I'm assuming that the partners, what was going on with Lily and Morty when she's like, hey, be my partner, I'm assuming that represents marriage. That's what I'm assuming. Now, just an FYI, if you're unaware of this, some MMORPGs and games, RPGs, or any form of game, multiplayer games, they do have a marriage system. And sometimes in these games, MMORPGs, marriage systems, they are very beneficial for the two people. And the reason why, it's not just because from a romantic aspect, if you're actually a boyfriend-girlfriend, but also from an aspect of sometimes when it comes to marriages in games, it actually allows you to share your inventory or your private storage or whatever with this other individual. And so in this case, it's like a bond of trust. That's what it is. And so when she's like, be my partner, and you see the matching like outfits and stuff, I'm assuming it was like a marriage ceremony going on. Now, I don't know how this game exactly works because it's in an anime, but I still assume that there's probably a lot of benefits to it, not just from a friend perspective, but also from inside the game of the benefits of it. And I believe that's why they actually did it. Regardless, though, it was a very adorable moment, just seeing Lily and Morty having their moments. And I just like that moment when she was done, you know, having a conversation with Lily. Like, in mid-conversation, she goes over to bed and she just starts rolling around, and I'm like, come on, let's be real here. If something like this happened to you, something really good, you'd probably get excited and want to roll around as well. I mean, I know when I, like, had some really good drops in World of Warcraft, and I used to play it quite a bit when I was in the Wrath of the Lich King era. I remember when I got certain drops and I was doing dungeon drops, I would just get so excited. I was like, yes! Like, I would just sit there and jump for joy and all that, because I finally got a drop that I've been, like, farming for all day long or even weeks, and I got really hyped up for it. So seeing how she acted when, you know, that conversation was going on, or how someone, you know, gave her something, and then, you know, that entire reaction to it, I'm like, that's me. That's straight up me. I completely relate with that. I 100% relate with that. It's just, it's so me. Anyways, I want to mention the fact that in this episode, it does seem like we might have a start to some romance between the main female and male character. It seems like, you know, Morty could possibly have a real-life love interest soon, which I'm looking forward to. I would really love to see her, you know, actually having a love interest. I mean, the title of the series is called A Recovery of an MMO Junkie, and recovery, quotations, is in the title, so basically that would mean that there's a possibility she could overcome being completely addicted to MMOs, but at the same time having some form of social life. Now, let's talk about the aspect also of how someone can meet someone important online. I know there's many people out there that think that how could you make a really good friend, like a best friend, online? That doesn't make sense. Go out there and you know, meet someone in real life and become a friend with them. That's what many would say. However, in a lot of cases nowadays, when it comes to social media and how the world or the internet works nowadays, usually you could probably find a very long friend online, and that's actually for me. I've known someone online, like my friend on Xbox. I've known him since like 2007, and right now it's 2017, just FYI, that's a decade. And I've known my friend that I played games with for over a decade. We play constantly, and he's a really important friend to me, and basically I can understand that aspect of this episode when, you know, she lost someone that she deeply cared about, a true friend and all that helped her out and made her love games so much more. And when she lost that, I could kind of relate to that. I mean, just imagine this, okay? I mean, you cannot spend time with this friend anymore. You can't, you know, play games with them anymore because you're busy with, you know, real life stuff. And that was an aspect of the episode, showcasing that when stuff goes on in real life, when, you know, you have relationships, the jobs and stuff like that, you can't focus on games anymore. And that's kind of how MMORPGs are. MMORPGs are a type of game genre that you need to put a lot of time into. You need to, you know, spend a lot of your free time focusing on. And if you don't have a lot of time, you're not going to be able to progress very far. I mean, for an example, let's take, for example, like, you know, World of Warcraft. I mean, it is a game you can casually play here and there, you know, complete a couple quests, get off and all that. But if you want to really do some grinding and farming and finishing certain things to get to the end game, then it's going to take a little bit of time. And in this case, when you see how that was mentioned, like, oh, we thought you wouldn't be active anymore because you had that issue going on in real life with, you know, the relationship, and that was a very real conversation as well. And so, I like how this series is grounded in realism. It keeps to a level to where it's not realistic, but in some cases, it's very realistic with its conversation and how the characters interact. Now, I do want to talk about the store clerk for a second. So, you know the dude in this episode, the store clerk with the green hair and all that was looking at Mori Mori? Well, I'm assuming that dude most likely is the guild leader. You know, the green-haired guild leader? I'm assuming that is that dude. I don't know. Just something about it is pegging me that the guild leader of the game and all that is that store clerk, which would make a lot of sense. It'd be very funny, too, if all the people in the MMORPG in the guild, they actually have met each other in real life. That'd be pretty funny, and I wonder if that will be revealed before the series is done. Regardless, though, I think this anime is a pretty fun show to watch. This is episode 3, and this will determine if you will continue to watch or drop the series. So I'm going to ask right now, all of you out there, how do you feel about a recovery of an MMO Junkie? Do you like this series? Are you going to continue watching it? Are you going to drop it? Please be honest in the comments below. I'm very curious, and I'm really glad as well that many of you like these videos, actually. That's something I wanted to talk about. Last week, I, you know, said that I don't know if you guys even want me to, you know, continue doing reviews on this, or many of you even care, but it does seem like a lot of you do care about this video series, so I am thankful for that. Thank you for all of you that, you know, commented and all that and told me you would like to see more of these videos. I do truly appreciate that. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you like my content and you want to support me, then go in the description and support me on Patreon. It does help me out a lot, especially with how the new YouTube is, with how basically everything gets yellow tagged nowadays or demonetized. So if you want to support me, if I can continue to focus on YouTube, like I said, go in the description and support me on Patreon. It does help me out quite a bit. So I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.